Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are walking the razor's edge between frost and fire. We're opening the dossier on Dawn of the North by Demi Winters.
And this is a fascinating one.
It really is. Now, on the surface, you might look at this and think, okay, classic high fantasy setup. You've got your kingdoms at war. Magic is coming back. There's a prophecy about the end of the world.
All the standard ingredients, right?
Exactly. But when you actually start to peel back the layers of this text, what we're really looking at is, I think, a study on the psychology of captivity.
It is a remarkable piece of source material. You have this high concept fantasy setting, the twilight of days, or Rakur as they call it. But the thing that grounds it, the mechanism, is entirely human. It's all about people who are trapped.
Trapped how?
Well, trapped in roles they didn't choose, in bodies they can't quite control, and in cities that are, when you get down to it, essentially just very elaborate cages.
And for this theme, we have two perfect, almost perfectly opposed case studies. Two sisters, separated by, well, pretty much everything, Scylla and Saga.
The dichotomy is stark. I mean, you have Scylla up in the north, in Copa. She's playing the role of the imposter queen, pretending to be her sister Isa, just to hold this fragile political alliance together.
And then you have Saga.
Right. Saga's down in Zagadka. She's the captive queen, physically imprisoned, but you could argue she's actually the one holding the moral high ground.
So that's our mission today. We are going to dissect these two perspectives.
Right.
We need to get into the political machinery of the North versus the South, for sure. But we also need to get technical about the magical threats. I really want to break down the mechanics of this mist and the biological reality of the shifters.
Because in this world, magic isn't just a superpower. It's not a tool you pick up. It's a parasite.
It's a parasite. And it's waking up.
Exactly.
So let's start in the North. Kingdom of Isildur. Capital city, Copa. And here we find Scylla. Now, Scylla is, at her core, a warrior. Yeah. She is all about utility. Leathers, weapons, the ability to move.
Function over form.
But the source material puts her in a very, very different context right from the jump. She's wearing an emerald silk dress.
And that dress is so significant. The text describes it as having these long, trailing sleeves. And crucially, no pockets.
Can we talk about the pockets for a second?
Yes.
Because that detail, I swear, it spoke to me on a spiritual level.
It's everything, isn't it? Scylla is a woman of action. She instinctively goes to put her hands somewhere, maybe rest them on a dagger, maybe she has a snack, who knows? And there's just nothing, just smooth, useless silk.
It's panic-inducing. It's this tiny detail that tells you everything about her predicament.
Well, it's a deliberate design choice, not by the author, but by the court. It's a garment designed for passivity. You can't fight in it, you can't run in it, you can't even carry your own keys, assuming they have keys.
A queen shouldn't need pockets, right? That's the thinking. A queen should have everything brought to her. But for Scylla, who has spent her entire life surviving, staying ready, that lack of utility feels like a trap.
It is a trap. And she's on this dais, and the text makes a point of saying she's sweating, which is unqueenly, and she is terrified. But she's not terrified of an assassin.
No, she's terrified of tripping over her own dress.
It's the physical manifestation of imposter syndrome. Scylla is, she is literally an imposter. She's pretending to be Queen Isa Volsic.
Her sister.
Her sister. So if she trips, if she sweats too much, if she uses the wrong fork at dinner, the whole illusion just shatters. And if that illusion breaks, the Northern Alliance, this coalition of warlords, it just falls apart.
Because they're only united behind the symbol of the queen. They don't have a clue they're actually following a fraud.
Not a clue. And we get this absolutely excruciating scene at Ashfall Fortress. Jarl Hakon is presenting her to the people. He's building her up. She is the savior of the North, their great hope.
And Scylla's just trying to walk down a set of stairs in those ridiculous sleeves.
And she fails. She trips. It's this tiny, perfect moment of disaster.
She gets her cuffs caught. But what I love is the recovery. It's messy. Atli Hackinson, the Jarl's son, sort of catches her. But then Rayak's Eyes, her partner in Queensguard, he's the one who actually hauls her up. It's not graceful.
No, it's not. But then she has to perform this ritual, and this is where we really get a glimpse into the cultural values of the North.
The offering to the Bright One.
Right. She has to throw boar steaks, mead, and a valuable weapon into this massive brazier.
And the weapon part is what really caught my attention.
Yeah.
She's holding this beautifully made dagger, and her internal monologue, it's not spiritual, it's not pious.
Not at all. It's economic.
Yes. She's thinking, do you know how much gold this would fetch?
That's the Scylla, the survivor, just bleeding through the mask of Isa the queen. A princess who was born to wealth wouldn't even think twice about sacrificing a dagger. It's just a thing.
But a soldier who has starved, who has had to fight for every scrap, that dagger is a tool, it's currency, it's life. Wasting it feels wrong.
But she does it. She throws it in. And the crowd's reaction is what's so telling. They don't see her hesitation. They just see the grand gesture of sacrifice.
And Jarl Hakon, he is a master politician. He spins this moment perfectly. He proclaims that Queen Isa vows to banish the Clarinar, the southern occupying soldiers, and bring back the old ways.
It's pure populism. Rally the base against a common enemy and promise a return to a mythical, better past.
Meanwhile, Scylla's just standing there thinking, I'm just keeping the seat warm for Saga. She sees herself as a placeholder, a temporary fix. But there's a problem, a biological complication that goes way beyond politics. We need to define Merkur.
Okay, yes. This is the technical crux of Scylla's entire character. Merkur is the god of chaos. And in this lore, gods aren't these distant, abstract figures up in the sky.
No, they can be biological inhabitants.
Precisely. Scylla has a shard of this god of Merkur living inside her, like inside her actual organ system.
A god in her spleen, basically, which is, I mean, talk about a pre-existing condition.
It's effectively that, yes. It's the result of a bargain her mother made years ago. And this entity, this piece of a god, it isn't dormant by choice. Scylla has to actively, chemically suppress it.
With a drug called hindrium.
Exactly.
So let's break down what hindrium actually does. The text calls it a Galdur-quelling substance. Galdur being their word for magic. So she's essentially chemically castrating her own magical potential to keep this chaos god asleep.
That is the trade-off, 100%. The hindrium cuts her off from her own power, what they call her thread to the world, and she hates it. The book says she feels numb, disconnected, like she's watching her life through dirty glass.
But if she stops taking it?
The god wakes up. And if the god wakes up, it seems to be the trigger for the apocalypse, for Rokor. So it's this horrible choice she has to make every single day, feel dead inside or cause the death of everything outside.
And we see just how thin that barrier is. There's this chilling scene. She's in her room and she hears a tapping at her window. It's a Black Hawk.
The omen of death in their culture.
Right. And the moment she makes eye contact with this bird, the hindrium, that chemical barrier, it wavers. For a split second, the god inside her wakes up.
And it whispers.
It whispers, death is coming.
It's terrifying. It suggests that the barrier is thinning. Maybe the drug is becoming less effective, or maybe the external trigger, the approach of this prophesied end of days, is becoming too strong for the drug to handle anymore.
She is a ticking time bomb wrapped in emerald silk. The whole imposter thing isn't just about her name. It's about her humanity.
Yeah.
She's pretending to be a normal human queen, but she is actually a vessel for a cosmic entity of chaos.
Which is, I think, a perfect transition to our other cage. We need to go south.
Let's do it. To the kingdom of Zagadka.
Yeah.
The capital city, Kovograd, where we find Saga.
And the environmental contrast is just immediate. Kopa is all stone, ice, these grim, imposing fortresses. Kovograd is described as a wooden city, timber fortresses, painted beams, carvings everywhere.
It feels more organic, maybe, but also more precarious. Wood burns, stone doesn't.
A bit of foreshadowing there, perhaps.
Perhaps. So, Saga is being held here by Cassandra Rurik. Now, the official story, his story, is that he rescued her from King Ivar in the south, who definitely wants her dead. Saga's perspective, however, is a little different.
For her, it wasn't a rescue, it was a kidnapping.
And her anger is completely rational. You have to remember, Saga has a history of trauma. She has been a captive before. So for her, being locked in a beautiful room for her own safety is not a comfort. It's a massive trigger.
The text describes her suffering from what she calls the crisis.
Which is their term for panic attacks. She has severe agoraphobia. She can't step outside. The text describes her feeling like the sky is a physical weight that's going to crush her. It's intense.
So she's fighting back in the only way she can.
And knife throwing.
The knife throwing. I love this detail. It's her daily routine. She gets a piece of charcoal, draws a picture of Cassandra's face on the wall, and then throws a dinner knife at it.
All day. It's this act of, impotent rage, but it's also an act of discipline. She's honing a skill.
And she misses.
Yeah.
Constantly. Until one day she doesn't.
And Cassandra catches her. The interaction when he walks in is just pivotal. He sees her trying to, virtually assassinate him. And he doesn't punish her. He doesn't get angry.
No. He corrects her form. He says, turn your wrists like this, you'll get more power.
It's a classic enemies to lovers setup, of course. But let's look at the power dynamic here. Cassandra isn't just a simple jailer. He's also a prisoner of his own biology. He's a shifter.
And we need to be really clear on what shifter means in this universe. It's not just, a guy who can turn into a wolf whenever he feels like it. It's a dual consciousness.
There's the man, Cassandra, and then there's the beast.
Right. And the beast is a separate intelligence with a very, very binary drive. Protect or kill. That's it. So Cassandra is in this constant mental wrestling match to keep the beast from just taking over completely.
So wait a minute. Both Scylla and Cassandra are fighting these intense internal battles just to control their own bodies. Scylla is fighting a god. Cassandra is fighting a beast.
Precisely. They are mirrors of each other in that respect. And Cassandra's external situation is just as messy as his internal one. He's the spare heir. His father, the High Prince, is constantly disappointed in him. And his half-brother Oleg...
Ugh, Oleg is a problem.
Oleg is a huge problem. He's brutal. He wants to hand Saga over to King Ivar to avoid a war or just hang her from the walls to make a point. He's this toxic combination of naked ambition and pure cruelty.
And there's a scene that just brings this whole triangular conflict to a head. Saga finds out that Cassandra's being whipped publicly. He's physically paying the price for having rescued her.
This changes the entire calculus for Saga. It complicates her hatred of him. She realizes his protection isn't free. He is literally bleeding for it.
So she bursts into the Red Room to demand his release.
And all hell breaks loose. Oleg shifts into a wolf. Cassandra loses control of his beast to protect Saga from his brother. It's just a bloody, violent brawl. But what's so interesting is Saga's reaction after the violence.
She realizes she can't just be a passive victim anymore.
Exactly. She starts to adapt. She starts learning the language.
Cultural immersion is a survival strategy. She's learning Zagadkin. She picks up words like krasavitsa,
which means beautiful.
A smooth move from Cassandra there.
Yeah.
But she also dives into the food, the drinks. There's something called spitin.
A spiced honey drink. And she starts learning about their gods, which gives us, it gives us Brother Summer.
Oh, we have to talk about Brother Summer, the Zagadkian deity of the season.
Yeah.
The text notes he's depicted in carvings with horns and a pouch of cow bollocks.
It's, not subtle.
It represents virility. But it shows that Saga is finally engaging with the world around her, instead of just shrinking from it. She is intellectually escaping her cage long before she can physically escape it. She's learning the rules of the game so she can start to play.
And speaking of cages and beasts, there is a literal beast in a cage down in the courtyard, Havoc.
The winged stallion.
A white, murderous winged horse that, as the story goes, kicked the previous heir, a man named Radomir, in the head and killed him. So now it's just chained up in the middle of the fortress.
And Saga looks down at Havoc from her balcony and she sees herself. Another powerful creature rendered helpless by chains.
And the prophecy surrounding Havoc is that only a great warrior can ride him. Cassandra already tried and he failed. His internal beast spooked the horse. The two beasts just couldn't coexist.
The narrative setup here is almost screaming at us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Saga, the girl who is terrified of the open sky, is the one who connects with the flying horse.
It's the ultimate therapeutic confrontation waiting to happen. To master the horse, she has to master her fear of the sky. And we see the very first step of this when she forces herself to finally open her balcony door.
That scene is so heavy. She just steps out into the sun. She feels the warmth on her skin. For someone with severe agoraphobia, that is a heroic act. That is a battle won.
She isn't cured, not by a long shot, but she is fighting back against her own mind.
She's preparing. She doesn't know for what yet, but she is sharpening herself. So, while Saga is sharpening her mind in the south, the north is facing a threat that you absolutely cannot stab. We need to talk about the mist.
Yes. The news reaches Kopa via Hekla and the Blood X crew. And the news is bad. The town of Istre is gone.
Just gone. Wiped off the map.
Burned to the ground. But the fire was the solution, not the problem. The problem was the mist. And in this lore, the mist isn't weather. It's not fog. It's a sentient, predatory force. Hekla describes it as having a heartbeat.
That detail is horrifying. A fog with a pulse. It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It implies intent. It implies intelligence.
It is intelligent. It tricked the chieftain of Istre, a guy named Lofter. It played a long game. It waited for a double black moon, a time of peak magical weakness for the humans, and it lured the whole town into a false sense of security so they would all gather for a feast.
It herded them like sheep.
It herded them. And then once they were all together, it turned them. The mist creates something they call droger. Undead. But it's not just reanimating corpses like a typical zombie. It twists biology. It corrupts.
There's that anecdote about the squirrel.
The squirrel Grimwolf.
Right. A squirrel is twisted into this monstrous wolf-like predator. That one detail establishes that the mist corrupts nature itself. It fundamentally changes the rules of what a living thing is. And if it can do that to a squirrel...
Imagine what it does to a person. It's body horror on an ecological scale.
And now Rayak's eyes has to go back into that.
Yeah.
He's taken a reinforced crew back to the western woods to find the source and destroy it. This all seems to tie into that Rooker legend, right? Begins with frost, ends with fire.
They suspect the source is connected to the sleeping dragons that are supposed to be in the mountains. And if the mist is just the exhaust coming off a waking dragon, the threat level is catastrophic.
It means the mist is just the smoke before the fire.
Precisely.
But before Ray leaves, we get some really significant development in his relationship with Scylla. And I want to look at this not just as a romance, but as a power exchange. Their entire dynamic is built on sparring.
Physical combat as a language of intimacy. And we see this perfectly in the duel with Kaija.
Kaija, Ray's ex-lover, and she is a harefoot. Can you explain that term?
A harefoot is a type of Galdra, a magic user who has enhancements to their speed, so she can move faster than the human eye can really track.
And in the sparring match, she uses this magic to cheat. She's just beating Scylla down over and over. She's not trying to train her. She's using her magical advantage to humiliate the queen in front of all the warriors.
But Scylla doesn't use magic. She can't because of the Hindrium. So she uses physics, she uses grit, she takes the beating, she reads Kaija's pattern, and then she uses that pattern against her and pins her.
It's a huge moment. It legitimizes her. The warriors watching know she didn't win because she's the queen and people let her win. She won because she's a better fighter. She earned their respect with blood and sweat.
And then Scylla claims her prize in front of everyone.
She kisses Ray publicly.
It's a political move just as much as it's a romantic one. She is publicly claiming the commander of her Queen's Guard. She's broadcasting to everyone, he is mine, he is loyal to me.
But then we get the private aftermath.
Yeah.
The bedroom scene.
This scene is so crucial for their character balance. Because in public, Scylla has to be the dominant figure, the queen. But in private, with Ray, she allows herself to be restrained. He uses his smoke magic to bind her wrists.
And it sounds aggressive, but the context in the book is one of relief. It's the first time in weeks that she doesn't have to be in charge. She doesn't have to be Queen Eyes of Ulsic. She could just be Scylla.
It's a total release of responsibility, and he gives her a parting gift. A thigh sheath for a dagger.
Promise me you'll wear it. He knows he's leaving her in a nest of vipers. He can't physically protect her anymore, so he gives her the tool to protect herself.
It's a love language of survival. It's practical love. He's acknowledging her world is dangerous, and he's showing that he trusts her to wield the blade.
Meanwhile, Hekla, the woman who brought the bad news about the mist, is trapped in her own personal hell. It's like a romantic comedy from hell, playing out on the road to the apocalypse.
Oh, it's such a mess, a glorious mess. She slept with Ivan Haakonson, the Jarl's son, during a drunken one-night stand, not knowing who he was.
And now she finds out he's betrothed to another woman named Liv.
And at the same time, she's being very seriously courted by another warrior named Gunnar, who is a much better match for her.
And now she has to ride to war with both of them in the same small war party.
It's incredible. It just grounds the high fantasy so well. The world might be ending, there might be magical zombies in the woods, but you still have to deal with the crippling awkwardness of your ex sitting across the campfire from you.
It reminds us that these are people, not just archetypes on a quest.
Exactly.
So let's zoom out to the big overarching threat. The South. King Ivar. He's in the southern capital, Sinavik, and he is not doing well.
No. He's badly disfigured. Half his face was melted in the explosion that ended the previous book. The text says he's paranoid, convinced the Zagadkians are sending assassins after him constantly.
He's even cut his beard short, which in their culture is this huge symbol of loss of potency or pride. He's a wounded animal, and wounded animals are always the most dangerous.
But the real terrifying force in Sinavik isn't Ivar. It's his wife, Queen Sunna.
Cygnus is a study in grief that has been weaponized. She lost her daughter, Yusa, in that same explosion.
And there's this scene where she's watching Yrsa's funeral boat burn. She isn't crying, she isn't wailing, she is silent, she's cold as ice. And she blames Saga, 100%, for her daughter's death.
Her request to Ivar is just chilling. She says, "Bring Saga Volsic to me alive. I want to watch the light fade from her eyes myself."
That is not a political demand. That's personal. She doesn't want victory. She wants to inflict torture.
And this is where Jonas comes back into the picture.
Jonas. Scylla's ex-boyfriend. The traitor. The man who sold them all out in the first book.
He shows up in Sinovic. He's damaged goods. He's missing codes from Frostbite. And he tries to play the game. He approaches Queen Sinnig with what he thinks is valuable information, hoping to get a reward.
He miscalculates. Badly. He assumes that because he also hates Scylla and Saga, Signet will see him as a natural ally.
But Saini doesn't care about his petty grievances. She just sees a man who betrayed his own people. A traitor.
And she has him arrested on the spot. But she doesn't execute him. She orders him taken to a place called Voland.
We don't get a definition of what Voland is in this text, but the context implies it is not a nice place. It's some kind of industrial site of cruelty.
It sounds like a labor camp or a torture facility. It's a pretty grim, but honestly satisfying cliffhanger for his character arc.
Yeah, you don't really feel bad for him. So let's just recap the board as we leave it. Ivar's fleet is sailing north to attack Zagatka.
The Zagadkians, meanwhile, are hesitant to mobilize because their high prince and the elders are stubborn and don't believe the threat is real.
The magical zombie mist is eating the entire western woods.
And Scylla is trying to hold the entire north together with a lie and a pretty serious drug habit.
The threads are all converging. It's a powder keg.
Absolutely.
So if we step back for a second, what is the core theme holding all these disparate plot lines together? You mentioned it right at the beginning. It's cages.
Everyone is in a cage. Scylla is caged by the role of queen, by that emerald dress, by her own biology. Saga is caged by stone walls and by her own trauma. Cassander is caged by the beast inside him and by his family's suffocating expectations.
Even Havoc the horse is literally in a cage.
Right. And the narrative tension, the thing that drives the whole story forward, comes from the inevitable breaking of these cages. What happens when Scylla finally stops taking the Hindrium? What happens when Saga steps off that balcony and decides to fly? What happens when the mist breaks containment and spills out of the woods?
Chaos.
Total chaos. The entire structure of their society is built on these various forms of containment. When that containment fails, that's when Roker begins. The cages aren't just holding people in, they're holding the apocalypse back.
The story leaves us with this image of the Black Road stretching east from Copa, and it feels like this perfect visual metaphor for the inevitable conflict.
It's a one-way road. Once you step onto it, you're not coming back the same person you were when you started.
So, I think the question for you, the listener, is this. In a world that's built on lies and cages, who do you root for? Do you root for the imposter who is trying to save the kingdom with a lie? Or do you root for the captive who might just burn it all to the ground to finally get free?
I think the answer is you root for whoever survives the fire. Because in Dawn of the North, the fire is coming for everyone.
A terrifying thought to end on. I'll leave you to mull that over. This has been a deep dive into Dawn of the North.
It's a world that really demands you look closer. Check the details, read the fine print.
Stay curious.
Yeah.
And maybe check your pockets. See you next time.